All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, I am not here to advocate for quarterback Josh Dobbs to make the Pro Bowl, but this young man has been leaving it all out on the football field here in 2023. Dobbs was a fourth round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 2017. And since then, he's bounced around the NFL as a backup. But with Kyler Murray recovering from the torn ACL that he suffered towards the end of last season, the Arizona Cardinals inserted Dobbs into their starting quarterback role to begin this season. Now, let's not dance around the fact that even if um, Kyler Murray was healthy, the Cardinals they don't have a good football team, and of course, we're seeing that as it's evident by their 1-8 record so far. But Dobbs was a starting quarterback for those first 8 games for Arizona until first-year head coach Jonathan Gannon made the decision to go with rookie Clayton Tune until Kyler Murray is healthy. And from there, the Cardinals made the decision to trade Dobbs last week to the Minnesota Vikings, who are thin at the position following the season ending injury to the Achilles for Kirk Cousins. So the Vikings took the field yesterday against the Atlanta Falcons. And then Dobbs initially came into that game as the backup with rookie quarterback Jaron Hall set to get the start in Atlanta. But then in that contest in the first half, Hall would suffer a head injury. He was taken out of the contest, would not return. And then subsequently, Minnesota had to turn to Dobbs, even though he had only arrived to their team facility earlier that week. But as this game appeared to be a throwaway for the Vikings, that was not the case with Dobbs at quarterback, as they were able to go down there, rally, and win the game in Atlanta. Now, the Vikings were being dominated for the majority of the first half, but the Falcons didn't put them away. Because why? Because Atlanta had to keep settling for field goals. 3 field goals by Young Koo along with the safety, and they were only up 11-3. And then when Dobbs led the Vikings on a touchdown drive just prior to halftime, it changed the momentum of that game because Minnesota had been getting dominated up until that point. But they only trailed at the half now by 1 point. And it was a back and forth affair between the Vikings and the Falcons for the bulk of the second half. And then when the Falcons rather went on that long drive that was capped off with the Tyler Algier, excuse me, touchdown run with about 2 minutes left, it looked like Minnesota was going to suffer the L rather, but led by Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs just took over on that final drive with his arm, with his legs. He got the Vikings into scoring range, and then before you knew it, he was actually going out there and passing the game-winning touchdown with about 22 seconds left to Brandon Powell. And I think, it's something that should be very commended for what he did throughout the game. Josh Dobbs coming off the bench yesterday for the Vikings was 20 of 30 passing for a buck 58 with 2 TDs, no interceptions, and 0 sacks. And I think that is very impressive for a player who just got to the team in the middle of the week. I'm sure he did not learn the entire Vikings playbook in that brief period of time. He didn't even know some of his teammates' names, some of the guys that he was even throwing the football to. But he went out there and did his part and then some to go out there and help the Vikings win a football game. Now, obviously, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell gave Josh Dobbs the game ball following that win. And that's a very quick way for you as a quarterback to go out there and win over your new team. You're fresh into that team's facility. You don't know everybody's name. You don't even know the entire playbook, but yet and still, you didn't go out there. You didn't make any excuses. You went and used the opportunity that you were afforded. And I think that right there is a testament to the character of Josh Dobbs. So I'll tell you like this. And I was actually going to say this when Josh Dobbs was still on the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, the Cardinals were 1-7 with him as their starting quarterback, but I don't think that entire, and I know we talk about, quarterbacks win-loss record. I don't think all of that should be attached to Josh Dobbs because, again, like I said, the Cardinals are not a good team this year. On top of that, if you followed the Cardinals, even with all of that, they've been in a lot of games. They've been very competitive with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. It was just the fact that they just didn't have. It was like probably like 5 or 6 plays, 5 or 6 key plays in the second half of most ball games, where A, they couldn't put a team away, or B, they couldn't go out there and make that key play to go out there and take the lead. And those were the things that were restricting them from getting more wins. But nonetheless, Josh Dobbs in those contests played well enough to keep the Cardinals in the game. He's not a guy, and I'm not going to sit up here and call him the next coming of John Elway because he's not. But nonetheless, I think he's gone out there, this young man, this season, even without yesterday's performance. I think he's gone out there and earned himself some more money as he's set to be a free agent after the season. And it might not be for a scenario where, the team's going to look at Josh Dobbs and say, hey, we want you to come in and be our franchise quarterback. Maybe not. But, he has shown that he can be a serviceable backup. He could be a guy that could come off the bench and he could provide some stability at the quarterback position if your starting quarterback is injured. And then on top of that, he could be a guy that could help to groom the next quarterback. Meaning, if you go out there and use a first or second round pick on a quarterback, maybe Josh Dobbs could be that guy to mentor him. But nonetheless, I guarantee you, with what he has done this year, and especially what he did yesterday, I guarantee you that there are teams and the front office executives around the league looking at that and saying for 2024, we need to get that guy in our building. But getting back to yesterday, what we saw yesterday does not happen that often in sports, especially at the quarterback position, because you think about all of the ins and outs that the quarterback has to know, not just for his own team, but also for his opponent. And Josh Dobbs went out there in that limited amount of time and got himself prepared. And I guarantee you that even though he was the veteran quarterback, he really didn't expect to get a lot of snaps yesterday. Just due to the fact that hey, he literally just got there midweek, and for him to go out there and perform at the level that he was able to do should be commended. And on the flip side, what does that say about the Falcons? Because you just lost at home to a quarterback that just got to the Vikings facility several days ago, didn't know their entire playbook, was a limited scope, and he still went out there and beat you. So I'm not really sure what that says. Well, I can't really say I'm not really sure, but it's not good things as far as the Falcons defense. But if you're Kevin O'Connell, if you're Josh Dobbs and you're the Minnesota Vikings, you definitely have to be happy. And like I said, in a very short period of time, Josh Dobbs has gone out there and has won over that Vikings locker room. A lot of respect for that young man within those quarters already. And I think again, he's going to give himself the opportunity to make some money over the offseason. But again, clutch performance from Josh Dobbs as he helped the Vikings get a win. Not enough good things that you could say about him because that doesn't happen that often. But at the end of the day, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And that is exactly what Josh Dobbs did coming off the bench to help the Vikings get a much needed road win. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the Sports Discussion Group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.